At Kaudihit Johan, it's time. Yakayuk Satini. Wasa Yiti. How are you guys?
Chachake, Yaidat, Kulishish.
Okay.
Duga Diti
Okay.
Kua.
Khatsish Duka Khatiti Kanachaya Gunalchish. Cool. Well, let's get started. Dalkun Yagi. Ayaya Yagi. Eka Kayani Disi. Yudu Wasak. Yadis. Kleka Kakajin Yawahi. It's Thursday, April 25th. And for our warm up today, we're going to talk about the day. So we'll fill in the blanks together. I'm going to make this a little bit larger. On Tuesday, you all asked me, well, how do you say that in Lingit? And you gave me the good idea to start making this part of our practice. So here we are. I'm going to put my cursor on the blank here. So days of the week are counted starting on Monday. So Monday is Tleik Yagi, Tuesday Dech Yagi, Wednesday Nutsk Yagi, and what's today? Thursday Dakun Yagi. So day 4 is how you say Thursday. So wasa du wasak for Lingit Reinach. How do you say 4 in Lingit? Good. Dakun. So day 4 is Thursday. Repeat after me. Dakun Yagi.
Yagi.
Yeah, hike gunartish. And we looked in
Dachun Yagi.
Yike gunartish dakun yagi. Yagi. For the month name, we looked in Lingit Reinachsa, the phrase book, and according to the phrase book, April is the month of true plant budding. And so we call it, repeat after me, Keka.
Ega.
This is an underlined G, so you'll say it like a raven sound in the back of your throat. Repeat again. Yeah, Keka.
Ega.
That's true. And then plant is Kayani.
Kagani.
And then the month, Disi. Good.
Disi.
Yeah. So the whole month name for April would be, say this, Keka Kayani Disi.
Ega Kayani Disi.
Good, nice. That's how we call the month of April. There can be variation in how the months are called depending on location in Southeast. Since Southeast Alaska and Tlingit Territory in general covers a lot of latitude, what happens each month might be different, so there can be variation. But this is the one that I use according to Tlingit Reinachsa. The next phrase we talked about is specific to days passing. So we use this word, yawachi. So I'll have you repeat just this word after me. Yawachi. Yeah. That means they passed, and it's specific to days passing. So when you say yawachi, you're talking about this many days passed. So, do you guys remember how to say 25 in Tlingit? Go ahead.
Dech Jinkat.
Good guess.
2 times
Yeah.
20. 2 times 10.
Yeah, good guess. So we'll look at numbers today. One way of saying it is for 20 would be one man, meaning 10 fingers and 10 toes. So for 20, you could use this word, repeat it after me. Tleqa.
Kleka.
Kleka.
That's 20. And then you would say ka.
Ka.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that means and. And then the word for 5, Cajun.
Cajun.
Yeah. Yeah, so 25 would be, repeat after me this whole phrase, Tleqa ka Cajun.
Cajun.
Yeah, 25. So that's what we would say, Tleqa ka Cajun. And then we use this phrase, Yawachi. So let's do this. Say 25, Yawachi. Tleqa ka Cajun, Yawachi.
Kleka. Cajun. Yawahi.
Yeah. And then, so that means 25 days have passed. And then this month, to say this month, repeat after me. Ya dis.
This.
Yeah, this.
Yeah. So let's do the whole phrase. Just take a breath, do it nice and slow, and repeat after me. Tleqa kakejin yawachi ya dis.
Kleka. Cajun. Yawache. Yidis.
Yeah.
Ka
25.
Cajun.
Ah,
Yawahi. Yadis.
okay. Really good. So that's how you would say 25 days have passed this month. Any questions on those? Awesome. So, a couple announcements I wanted to make for today. I'll try to do my best to pass on announcements as they come into my email. But I received this email from the Bureau of Indian Affairs about the upcoming Native Language Summit. And I'll just share my screen so you can read the email with me or forward it to you guys. But the highlights I wanted to bring up first are that basically they're going to have a Native Language Summit on October 8th in Palm Springs, California. And I'll share all these details written as well. And to prepare for that Native Language Summit, they're welcoming as written questions and comments that you all might have. And since you all are involved in Lingit language revitalization, I'll share those questions and get your input and also invite you to register if you're interested. So let's go to the email because it has all the details. Probably make this a little larger. Oops. Sometimes I hit keys and accidentally mute myself. Looks like I'm good though still. Okay. So just to share, the 2024 Native Language Summit is having an engagement session on Wednesday, May 22nd. So this will be with the federal government. And I received this from Janelle Green at BIA. And she said the Office of Indian Economic Development is helping to develop the 2024 Native Language Summit. The planning committee developed an engagement session to hear from tribes about your goals, topics you want to see, speakers, etc. for the upcoming Native Language Summit. The planning committee identified 6 engagement questions, which are listed below. Comments can be submitted online or through the virtual engagement session. And then there's a registration link, which I'll share with you all. If you have questions, you can contact Priscilla Belial. And then recap, the engagement session will be Wednesday, May 22nd. So that's a month out, 3 to 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And the summit theme is Beyond the Decade, Inspiring a Generation of Native Language Learners. So that's you guys. That's why I wanted to bring it up in class. They ask these 6 questions, and I'm going to make time in class today to discuss them with you all. So I'll just read them to you so you can start thinking about them, and then I'll make time to discuss it at the end of class. But the questions are, first of all, what are your goals for attending the Native Language Summit if you're interested? What are topics you would like to see on the agenda? Will you be attending in person or participating virtually? What speakers or presenters do you recommend or would you like to see or hear at the summit? Are there specific engagement strategies or formats, for example, panel discussions, interactive workshops, cultural performances, that you believe would be effective in fostering meaningful dialogue and collaboration? And then the sixth question, what are your hopes and aspirations for the outcomes of the Native Language Summit? And how do you envision its impact in our communities? So there will be a written period going until May 29th where you can submit your written comments. Any questions or comments right off the bat about this?
What have past summits look like? Have you been to one?
What, can you say that again? Sorry.
What have past summits been like, and have you been to one?
Good question. I have not been to one. I think I got this because I saw this speaker. I believe Janelle Green was one of the speakers at the conference I just went to, the Native American Language Symposium in Tucson. I think that's where she got my email. Yeah, good question. I'm not sure.
You know who's gonna be here or at the summit? As far as like maybe government officials or anything like that.
I don't know, but I would ask Clinket and Haida if they already plan to attend. I might write them an email and ask if they're planning. In Alaska, our relationships are kind of unique with the federal government because we have, yeah, as you guys know, corporations and tribes, and then from the corporations stem a lot of different type of tribal entities, including nonprofits and conglomerates. So they keep it pretty open. It says tribal nations, federal agencies, and nonprofit partners will convene. But as far as which entities from Alaska are planning to attend, I don't know yet. I'll have to reach out.
Yeah, do you have any thoughts or feelings on this? This summit, is this a good thing, or is this just kind of maybe lip service, no pun intended?
Me?
Yeah,
Yeah. I guess any kind of engagement with the federal government, I tend to look at as like sometimes like a heavy lift, but it needs to be done. Because the federal government has their trust responsibility with us, and they have a lot of responsibilities in their relationship with us as tribal people. I've been to quite a few engagement sessions with the federal government and mostly sit back and watch the tribal leaders communicate with them directly. Depending on the topic, it can be heated or not. But I guess when I look at this invite, I'm not like, oh, awesome, I want to go. But I think of it more of as like my responsibility to participate.
why do you think it's your responsibility?
I think because I make money teaching native language, and I'm sort of an auntie in my communities, both in my family and in my language communities, that it's just part of making sure that we're heard, using my privilege and my
Showing up
platform.
and representing.
Yeah, showing up and representing, yeah.
Sorry, I
Would you
didn't
say
mean to
that this is
interrupt.
You're good.
pardon
Yeah.
me. Would you
Well,
say this
someone
is primarily for teachers, instructors, or is this for people who are just interested, want to sit in and listen, or is this for more elite hire like you?
thank you for calling me elite. That's gonna make me
Yes, you're
feel
elite.
sparkly all day.
Like that.
No, I think this says please share throughout your network. So I would read this as especially for the written comment section if there's things like if you guys are aspiring to become native language teachers, but there's something missing along the way, uh at least I would start thinking about like what would that be for me? Like when I started learning Lingit, it was because they didn't offer Koyakon at university anymore. And I was like, well, they're offering Tlingit and the languages are related, so I'll go there. And then even as a beginning student, my teacher hosted a conversation about what's needed for you guys to keep participating in this. And I remember saying, well, there needs to be money. I have bills to pay, I have student loans to pay. It takes time to learn language, and that's time that I'm not spending on a tugboat making money. So there needs to be pay for me if I can keep participating. And I felt like my voice was heard, or maybe other people were saying the same thing because pretty soon there were paid some summer internship opportunities.
Oh, that's
There
great.
were paid like the scholarship that Sealaska Heritage Institute and UAS put me through. That paid
Okay.
my housing stipend and my full tuition. And it's
Awesome.
because of things like that that I'm able to be a native language teacher today. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to afford it.
That's awesome.
Gonna teach. And so, yeah, I do think that your voice is heard. And maybe those conversations will be between us, and then I'll pass on your insights between me and my mentors. But when I saw this email, I thought of you guys, and I was like, I should at least ask them what their input would be.
Okay, thank you.
Ah,
If it was me, I would definitely talk a lot about the overlap of our native languages with social justice and mental health. And I don't think that enough people are talking about that yet.
okay.
Yeah, it almost feels like our native language revitalization movements should be just as important as like Black Lives Matter or Me Too. Yeah, easily as important. And then nobody's talking about what happens when someone's indigenous language is taken to them, and what happens when we have to try to learn that back, how hard that is. We're not even talking about the difficulty of linguistically, like learning French or Spanish or something like that, but this is intimately tied to historical trauma, and maybe not even historical, but present day trauma. We have aunties and uncles and grandmas and grandpas that were directly influenced by the efforts to, attempted genocide through assimilation is explicitly recognized in that 2022 boarding school report that was put out last year by Assistant Secretary Newland under Deb, what's her name? Or Secretary of the Interior. So yeah, these are explicitly talked about, but not really. I don't know if they're brought to the language table, so to speak.
Sheesh. Thank you.
Sorry, I read a lot about this stuff for my dissertation.
Oh, cool. That's awesome.
Mhm.
Good. I'm glad you're working on that.
Yeah, it seems like low-hanging fruit, like how people recognize there's this health disparity for indigenous populations, and there's this indigenous language revitalization movement that's happening concurrently, and you hear people like Rene talk about language is our medicine, right? You hear that all the time. What does that mean? You know, as a psychologist, I think it can be taken like almost literally.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm. Oops, sorry.
That's awesome. It's cool to hear your perspective too, because one of my friends or mentors, Alice Taff, mentioned that a few years ago that she wanted more information about the tie between language, languages being taken during colonization, and diabetes in communities, and and you know what a larger discussion that is, including historical trauma and yeah, how language reclamation helps restore health in communities.
Alice Taff is amazing. She wrote a a chapter and book on endangered languages, and the chapter that she wrote was on the healing effect of indigenous languages. And yeah, it's a really great read. She gives a lot of anecdotal references from um, Southeast Alaska and all over the world, really. But you know, her focus is on Alaska Natives.
Okay. Do you happen to remember the name of the book?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just a second. It's like the Oxford Book of Endangered Languages, I think.
Okay. While he's looking that up, were there any other comments about the Native Language Summit?
I was wondering, do you think that this would be something posted for all Indigenous people to attend if they wanted to, or primarily for instructors? Like, would we need to
I
have a credential to attend? Is it kind of like a town meeting where anybody is welcome to come who has an interest in this to listen in? Or do we have to have maybe credentials or some
that's a
sort in order to attend?
that's a good question. I'll try to find out and give you a better answer. Initially, when I read the invite, I feel like it's open because of this line, please share throughout your network, and you guys are my network. And
Okay.
then the second reason is the theme, Beyond the Decade, Inspiring a Generation of Native Language Learners. So to me, you and I are language learners, so this summit is about us, and we should,
Okay.
want to be there. We should be able to be there, to me.
Sheesh.
Ah,
I'd love to see how native languages also tie into the land back movement. I don't know a whole lot about that, but I think they're pretty closely tied. The languages were taken to assimilate us and split us apart so that the land could be taken.
yeah.
It's a direct effort to gain indigenous lands.
Yeah.
So bringing back the language could mean bringing back the land.
Ah,
And and I guess that's kind of where I feel like this is lip service, these language movements, because if you're not talking about land back, then how are you talking about language revitalization?
yeah.
Yeah, that's sort of harsh, but I don't know. I think it's they're intimately connected.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have lost our languages if they didn't have something tied to the land.
Yeah, exactly. Very good points. Okay. I don't want to cut this short, but this is just the beginning of our conversation in this particular group. So if you all have more comments or questions about these that you want passed on when I go talk to people, let me know. I'll give you some more time to think about it, but already you've shared a lot of good points.
And I just put that chapter by Alice Taff in there. It's a pretty easy read, and it's pretty remarkable. A lot of the anecdotal evidence for language healing.
Awesome. Good enough. Geesh. Good enough. Geesh. Okay. Good opening. So we're gonna jump into our review now. And then what I want to do with you guys too is I know that we talked about glossing, and last week you all asked me the difference between gusu versus guksayayati, as far as making it a complete sentence. So we'll talk a little about that. And then I want to get into this realm of discussion around what do you see and what do you have. So we'll see how far we get today, but Gunachish for sharing your insights.
I was thinking about the complete sentences, kind of like the it's like me Tarzan, you Jane, versus you know,
Yeah.
not having like a good sentence.
Yeah, we'll look at examples in the book, the beginning Clingit workbook, and the gloss, how Rene broke them down. And that'll kind of go into with what y'all are doing in Ida's class. Okay, these we'll do a review to warm back up. Go ahead and say these words. Gook, go.
This.
Sis,
Uh. What?
What?
Mm-hmm.
Let's go.
Satsi,
Mm-hmm. Repeat after me. It's.
It's.
Uh-huh. And tsetsi.
Etsy.
Etsy.
Good. Yeah, your pinched TS's sound good. Okay, next one, go.
what?
Etsy.
Etsy. It.
What?
Show what? Tikitia.
Tikitia.
Yay.
Shay. Shay.
Mm-hmm. Repeat after me. Shayi.
Shay. It. Show what?
Shawat.
Tikitia.
Yeah.
Kitkiya.
Mm-hmm.
Shay.
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 Leg.
Ich.
Ech.
Dech.
Nask. Takun.
Cajun.
Cajun.
Jin. Lady.
Sure.
Kadushu.
Akadushu.
Naskadushu.
Naskadushu.
Kushuk.
Jinka.
Chinkat.
Lake.
Lech. Lech.
Natsk.
Nask. Dachun.
Dachun.
Cajun.
Cajun. Pedusha.
Pedusha.
Dachadusha.
Dachadusha.
Naskadusha.
Naskadusha.
Ushuk.
Ushuk. Jinkat.
Nice. Okay, good job. Let's use these in our question and answer drill. So first realm, asking where things are. So I'll read the top line, which is the question, gusukwat, and you all will respond together the bottom line, which is the response, ya dukwat. And we'll do that for each slide. Gusukwat.
Aduchwat.
Gusutati.
Edu. Tsatsi.
Gusushayi.
Edu.
Waedushe.
Gusuhit.
You do hit.
You do hit.
Any questions on those? Okay. So when we talk about our grammar note around gusu versus gusayeti, I'm stepping out of my realm of like things I know comfortably and switching into exploring it with you. But I'll show you some screenshots from the book that I found that we can look through together. So these are both ways of asking where something is. The first one, repeat after me, gusu.
So,
Gusu.
Ushuk.
And the second one, repeat after me, guksayeti.
Kuksayayati.
Kusayeti.
Yeah. So if we want to ask, where's the house? These are two different ways we could ask. So the first line, repeat after me, guksayeti hit.
Kusayeti.
Or the second one, gusu hit.
Gusu.
Yeah, where's the house? These are pictures from the beginning Lingit workbook, and they include a gloss. And so we'll look at how you respond to each one based off which option you chose. So the first one for where are they? Repeat after me. Guksayeti.
Sayayati.
Sayayati.
And then the response is going to sound similar to the first one. So if they're at Anchorage, repeat after me. Anchichayeti.
Yayati.
Yeah. So in both the question and the answer, you have this pinched X as well as yayati. Okay, the first line you're asking a question, that's why you have this sa, and in the response you're just answering. So you use the same yayati as you hear in the question. So looking at the gloss, we can look at each part since you all are working on this in Ida's class. We have in the English on the right hand side the English translation, and then below it for guksayayati we have gu and then a pinched X. And so when we look at the gloss beneath it, we have gu, which is where. Okay, you're being asked a where question. And then this pinched X at the end lets you know that you're specifying at. Okay, it's not from or toward, it's at. So where at would be this first gu. The next part is sa, and we know this to be a question particle, but it's also a command form of name it. So if someone's telling you name where they're at, they're asking you where something is at.
Is the
Yeah.
low tone A the same as the high tone A there? Or
I'm not sure why it's written low tone here. It should be high tone. Good question. And then yay gets translated often as thus. And then the verb here for yeti is, are you guys working on this yet? Breaking down verbs to this level? Okay.
not
Does
well.
any, huh?
I said not well, but yeah.
Yeah. Is it part of your assignment for the story project?
Well, there's
that was an option.
3
to
different
cross.
options.
Mhm.
I chose the gloss.
Oh, you're
what
in
did you
it.
choose? Okay, watch.
Oh,
Can I
okay.
hop in and ask a
I
question?
chose to
Yeah.
memorize Monty.
I'm just wondering, are we referring to another Lingit language class that's happening right now that I'm not
Yeah.
aware of? Or,
Yeah. Yeah, one of the days when you weren't here, a couple of the students shared with me that they're interested in learning how to break down sentences because it's part of
oh,
their assignment in one of the university classes.
oh, the university classes. Yeah, okay. Yeah, unfortunately, I took on a new job and I don't get to choose my schedule right now, so I'm just pretty much popping in where I can. So I'm always like, did I miss something? But
Yeah.
okay,
And these
cool,
are
cool.
recorded too. I never watched them, but they are recorded if you were ever interested and needed a fix of Tlingit language.
Hmm.
I am interested. Okay, gonna sheesh.
Yeah.
Put you away.
Oh, okay. Good question.
Yeah, congrats too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, when I look at the breakdown of this word yeti, I'm kind of like, whoa, that's a lot. But Kaya, since this is part of your assignment and you're jumping into this level of understanding the language, is there anything here so far that you understand in this breakdown of yeti? Or do you have specific questions for me?
I think the math sign is the verb, right?
Yeah.
For
Yep,
B.
good.
And
Nice.
then
Yeah.
the part
Go
right
ahead. Sorry, I keep
before
cutting
it-
you off.
Sorry, and the part right before it is it tells you I'd have to see it. It's color coded.
Yeah.
So I can't remember which one's which.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just gauging where you're at so that I'm making sure what I talk about in class is lining up. It's lining up with where you're at. But yeah, good job. So this square root symbol that you see before T lets you know, for those of you who are at this level or wanting to learn more about verbs, this is your verb root. It's the core meaning of your verb. And if you look in the English version of the class, you see that B is the English translation of T. So when we see yeti, we can say, okay, this T sound at the end has to do with being. And so where are they? You're asking where at, like, do they be? Where are they?
Where at do they be? I like
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah.
I think I'll use that
Existential.
when where at do they be?
I know. I was just asking, I was just staying when I was in Louisiana. I shared a cabin with my 2-year-old nephew, and he kept on saying, where'd Anna go to at? And I was like, yeah, just add all the sounds. Make sure that they're all in there so we all know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Cute.
It's a different word order. That's why it sounds. I remember asking Rene when I was a beginner, like, is it the same word order as Yoda speak? And he was like, no, it's not quite right. Like, he had already thought about it and had the answer right off the bat. And I was like, okay, fair enough.
What about Klingon?
Maybe Klingon, I don't know. That'd be an interesting chapter of your PhD.
You, you do the Klingon language was based on Tlingit?
Was it?
Yeah, yeah. This is
Okay.
pretty sure it's a fact. Yeah, we talked about it in our other class. Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yeah, I couldn't make that up.
That's awesome. Yeah, so main thing I want to share in conversation practice is if you hear the version "guksayayati" for where is it, that your response follows the same pattern. Yayati. Yeah, that's something I'll say about that. The alternative that we talked about for asking where something or someone is instead of guksayayati would be gusu. So you're just asking where are they, but instead of including this word yati for to be, you're just saying name where they're at. So in this example, we're talking about someone's father. Your father is repeat after me, ish.
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 So we're specifying who we're talking about now. And the response, just like in the other example, is going to follow the same grammatical pattern as the question. So repeat after me the question, gusu ish.
Su ish.
So, ish.
And then you're going to follow the same pattern and repeat after me, we du ach ish.
We do actually
Yeah. So now I'm talking about my father. That's why I for your father changes to ach for my father, ach ish. And then this similarity is in the end of these words. So gusu sounds with this rounded u sound, and same with wedu. It ends with this rounded du sound. That's where the similarity is occurs. And then looking at the gloss, this is the best I can do for you right now, is that gusu is a contraction of these parts. So again, we have gu for where. You're being asked a where question. Now we're putting the question particle sa for name it right in the middle of the word. And then this is the part I don't know about. This is a question for Ida or Rene. Oops. This is signifying is at. So name where it's at, your father. And that's the best I can do for you. When you asked, is this a complete sentence? I can only say that this is including is at. Does that satisfy your curiosity? Yeah, for now. Okay. That's the most I understand. When I look at this, I'm primarily looking at how do I use it, and so I'm looking at, okay, the question gusu needs to be followed with this we ya do he do we do you do, because it ends in the response should end in And then looking at our gloss for the response, wait would be that place or over there, and then this again for is at, and then my father. So repeat the question after me. Gusu ish.
Ish.
Good. And the response, we do ach ish.
we do actually
Yeah. And then looking at
Ish.
good. And then by comparison, looking at our first set of question and answer, repeat after me. Guksayayati.
say
And then the response, if they're in Anchorage, repeat after me. On chichkiyayati. Or if they're in downtown Juneau, repeat after me. Zantikihini kiyayati. Or if they're at Fred Meyer kiyayati.
Meyer.
Fred Meyer
Yeah.
Just another quick question.
Yeah.
Is it okay?
Of course.
I know like well, like the technical word for Juno is Zantikihini, but I also know people refer to it as Akquan. Uh, and I was just wondering if that's referring to a specific place in Juneau, or like that's just an alternate term, like because they're the people of the little lake there, right?
Yeah. Yeah, away. Really good question, Gonachish. Thanks for asking me.
Uh,
Um, let's talk about this place name. If you look in the beginning Tlingit workbook on page 69, we'll have native place names, and Ak is Little Lake, and it's referring to the Ak area in Juneau. And so Juneau has that long stretch of road between the Little Lake area and downtown. So the way I hear this used is if you're over by the university campus and the Little Lake, you would refer to that area as this word. Repeat after me. Ak.
Uh,
uh,
Yeah. And that's in northern Juneau area. And there's this Juneau area south and Douglas. Repeat this phrase or this word after me. Tak.
Daku.
That would be Juneau area south and Douglas. King Salmon Cove, or possibly Flooding Geese. And these would be questions for local people. I'm not sure how to talk more about that. That's all I know.
And
appreciate the clarification.
Oh, okay.
Zantikahene is the name of like the what's now known as Gold Creek, and it's yeah, what is it? I forget what song it is. Fish or something like that.
Yeah, Zantikihini would be Gold Creek is right by Foodland in downtown Juneau, and there's a hill above it. If you're looking at it from shore, there's this hill that looks kind of like a flounder, and yeah, I've heard two theories.
Flounder there, no?
Well, okay, let's talk. Yeah. The two theories I heard, the one that stuck with me was that if you're on the water and you look at that hill, which I kind of agree because you can see it from the bridge too, it sort of looks like a flounder. So the town would be at the base of the hill that looks like a flounder, and I'll do a quick breakdown of how that translates. Let's copy this table.
Tahine means water too.
Yeah. Water or river. So if we had Zentikahini, this is just since I used it in the question, I'll do my best to break it down. Zenti.
I think it can also be a creek too, as well. Hini. But
Yeah.
yeah, generally just like a body of water varying in size. But like, yeah, that I usually refers to. I've mostly heard of Hini used in reference to rivers, but that's just been my experience. So there's a lot of nuance there, I think.
Yeah, Hini could be river or water, like in a glass.
I've also heard a term, uh, Gunhini, to refer to the Tlingit people, the people of the spring water. Um, I know generally Tlingit just means human being or people, but I've also heard that term before as well. So I think it's kind of interesting. I like that. I like that phrase.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just a quick breakdown of the name that I used. An example, Zenti would be flounder. Ke is at the base of, and then Hini. So if I were to translate it, I would say river at the base of the flounder, implying the hill that looks like a flounder. That's what I was taught in beginning.
And you learned Lingit here in Zantikini.
Yeah, I started in Juneau in 2018 in the fall time, and then continued for 2 years, took a break, and then came back for the scholarship program, continued another 3 years. Yeah. Okay. So that was fun. Fun discussion of where is it, different ways of asking where something is, responding in different ways. And what is it would be I'm gonna skip this one for now since we already did it, and I want to talk about what do you have. Okay, so beginning Tlingit workbook, page 52. The reason I want to talk about this is we're going to start talking about foods. And I want, as we enter into summer, I want to talk about putting up food and working on food. And there's some fun phrases in this book we can use. Okay, 52. Let's go. Sorry about the scrolling. 52. Here we go. Have you guys talked about this phrase yet in any of your other classes or language learning? Ichiwo. Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I'm familiar with the term. You know, it's just like, what is it? Is it technically like what is in your hand, or is it just like what do you? Because I know Jin is hand, but I'm not sure about the Jiwoo part.
Good. That's awesome. Yeah, that's a good starting point. Ichiwo would be in your possession. So this is how we ask, what do you have? So if I want to ask, what do you have? I would say this whole phrase, repeat after me. Da sa ichiwo.
Dasa ijiwu.
Jiwoo.
Yeah. And then looking at the breakdown, we have da. Remember, da is you're being asked a what question. Gu is a where question. Da is a what question. Da sa means name it or tell me what. So repeat this part after me. Da sa.
Dasa
And then your possession, repeat after me. Ichi wu.
Ichiwo.
Ijiwu.
Yeah, so the whole phrase. Da sa ichi wu.
Dasa
Dasa
ichiwo.
ijiwu.
Yeah, what do you have? And then if I have a little bird in my hand, I would say, repeat after me. Tsatiachjiwu.
Ijiwu.
Yeah. Or if I have water in my hand, repeat after me. Hin achjiwu.
Ijiwu.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question about the J? Is it always pronounced as J as in jump?
I think so. I think so, yeah. Yeah.
English treats it a few different ways. I know that.
Oh, good question. The Tlingit orthography, I think, tends to be pretty consistent, where a J is, pronounced as J. Good question. So if I want to turn things around and I have something and I'm asking you, what do I have? I would say this, repeat after me. Da sa achjiwu.
Dasa
Jiwoo.
Yeah, now I'm talking about my possession. So repeat after me. Achjiwu.
achiwo.
Yeah. And so I'm asking, what do I have
Jiwoo.
now? Uh-huh. Now, when you respond, you're telling me what I have. So that you say, repeat after me, ichiwo.
Ichiwo.
Yeah. So if you have, what's another word we've learned so far? Oh, a hummingbird. Repeat after me. Digitki ya ichiwo.
Itkiya
Yeah.
ichiwo.
Yeah. So this is just talking about my possession, your possession. And then if we're talking about the third person, it's not me, it's not you, it's someone else, and I want to know what they have. Now I say duh. So repeat after me. Dujiwo.
Ichiwo.
Yeah, their possession. What do they have? Now you and I are talking about someone else. So the whole line, repeat after me. Da sa dujiwo.
Dasa.
Yeah. And if they have a seal, then repeat after me. Sa dujiwo.
Sajiwo.
Yeah. Or if they have water, repeat after me. Hin dujiwo.
Hindujiwo.
Yeah, that's what they have. Duh in Tlingit in English is a singular they. So Tlingit doesn't specify the gender of someone else when we're talking about them. Duh could be he, she, singular they. It just treats it as a singular they. So if you look at the gloss, it says there. And yeah, the third person. It's not me, it's not you, it's this third other person. So we'll start with just those few phrases, and I put some examples together. I'm a little behind as far as the harvesting season, but we'll continue to update this with animals and foods that we're harvesting. And the first one is repeat after me, yao.
Yao.
Wow.
It's herring. And then herring roe is repeat after me, ga.
Gao.
Oh,
Yeah, good. You did a good job with this pinched rounded X. So you're doing a couple things at the same time here with your X. You're both pinching it and you're rounding your lips. And it makes a very different sound from if you don't round it. So one more time, repeat after me. Ga.
Gao.
oh.
Good. And we have a couple more minutes, so let's do it again. Repeat after me. Yao.
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 Yo.
Yeah. And then ga.
Gao.
Gao.
Oh.
So a quick question and answer drill for what do you have? Just repeat these after me for pronunciation practice for now. So repeat after me. Da sa ichi wo.
Dasa
Asa
ichiwo.
ichiwo.
And the response, repeat after me. Kwat ji wo.
Hot jiwo.
Jiwo.
Yeah. Next one. Da sa ichi wo.
Dasa
Asa
ichiwo.
ichiwo.
Ga ji wo.
Gao.
Jiwo.
Jiwo.
Good. And then that's all we did for now. So in this first one, what am I asking here when I say da sa ichi wo?
What do you have?
What do you
Yeah.
have?
What do
Yeah.
you have? And then what's the response in English?
I have eggs.
I have eggs. Yeah.
I have an egg.
Yeah. I need to check if you have to pluralize
Sometimes
this.
it's not. Yeah, that's. I was just wondering because sometimes, like, it doesn't seem like it's necessary to pluralize, or that it's inferred that you're either speaking about one or a couple. I guess it just depends on what you're referring to, or whether it, like, maybe sometimes it might be a difference of whether it's a visible thing that you can tell that a person's only talking about one thing or multiple things. But if it's
Yeah.
like readily apparent,
Yeah.
then that would be different. I'm not sure.
Good question. Okay, I'm gonna make a note since we're out of time, and we'll continue this discussion about pluralizing because I'm not sure. But gwnaf tish yi janae ya yagi ach tu kliqi kach. Thanks for your work today. I feel proud of you guys. I'll see you next week on Tuesday.